How in the world did Doug Savine get 526 votes? Miss Zachary beat Mr. Savine by 24 votes on the at-larges. Congratulations. Or the open seats, I should say. Unopposed.
Casey, I'm not sure that's anything to brag about. I'm just saying.
I'm just going to tell Mr. Savine he didn't
I
get
was
the
just happy
550.
there was more than one, the one I voted for myself.
Yeah.
Okay, tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and call us to order here. It's 5:30 here on Tuesday, May the 12th. And for this special council meeting of the Stephenville City Council, I'd like to welcome everybody for being here tonight. It's a special night for our nation. We are privileged to live in a country where we have a democratic republic, and the ability for us to hold elections and be able to serve the will of the people is something that is a result of those freedoms. And so it is, it's very meaningful what we're doing tonight, and I want to thank everybody for being a part of it and being here tonight. As we begin tonight, though, there's something else going on this week that we as the council wanted to make special note of, and I've got a proclamation here that I'm going to read in just a second. But we also enjoy in our community a very safe environment that is a product of some great work that is done by the police department. And this is National Police Week, and Peace Officers Memorial Day will be on Friday. And so in recognition of that, we wanted to issue a proclamation that I'm going to read here. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the law enforcement community of the city of Stephenville play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of Stephenville, and whereas it is important for all citizens to know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their law enforcement agency, and that members of our law enforcement agency recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the Stephenville Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service, now I therefore, Kenny Weldon, Mayor of the City of Stephenville, on behalf of the Stephenville City Council, call upon all citizens and upon all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe the week of May 10 through 16, 2015 as Police Week in the City of Stephenville. And if you see a police officer around town, just thank them for what they're doing. And Chief King, just appreciate all you and your team do for our community. Let's give them a hand. All right, we also have some official business to do tonight, and that is to canvass the election results from May 9th city election and the resolution and consider an ordinance. And so to do this, we will have an official canvassing of the results, and I'll ask Mr. McDaniel, Mr. Wagner, Mr. Hogan to please go with Ms. Stafford, who will lead you to review those and report back to the council.
picture sooner than 2 weeks, right? Not too long after Jan and I got married. I guess actually it was after Tracy was born, I started thinking about, I've got a lot of responsibilities here. If I fall off of this or somebody runs over me, I can't tell what's gonna happen. Somebody else does something. Yeah. And the traffic, back then, traffic wasn't too bad. Steve said, but it begun to get worse. And I just decided, there's not enough around me to protect the lawn on this. I might be better off having four doors and four wheels instead of no doors and two wheels.
So the Bronco came in.
Well, no, that was before the Bronco, considerable. I would like to go back and do a search on that house and say for me. Somebody told me if you're smart enough, you can go and trace that out through the vehicle ownership. Yeah, yeah. I don't know where it came from, new. I bought it from a guy in Fort Worth. And he had had it on his deer bench for years. It's a '66. That was before computer registration and a lot of the things that they do routinely now. When I bought it, the engine was sitting in the back. It was still crashed. You know how to fix it? Traded him 1847.
The car you know was the Bronco?
Yeah.
Really? That's crazy.
I think I got the better end of that deal.
For how long?
I saw it. That was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was back in the Clinton gun ban.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
It was, yeah.
All right, well, let's proceed then.
Mayor, the canvassing committee has met, and confirmed the totals. Proposition 1, for 576, against 172. In place 1, Mark McClinton, 379 votes. Justin Allison, 358. Place 3, Doug Savine, 526 votes. Place 5, Brett Harrison, 518 votes. Andrew Hanson Jr., 210. Place 7, Sherry Zachary, 550 votes. And I move to approve ordinance number 2015-09.
Second?
It's been moved by Mr. McDaniel and seconded by Mr. Hogan to approve ordinance 2015-09, accepting the results of the May 9th, 2015 election. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Unanimous vote approving the ordinance 2015-09 as presented. Okay, I want to thank those that participated in the election and those that came out to vote. I also want to make note that the 77% of the voters that approved Proposition 1 might be asking, well, what is next? Just briefly, I will say that we, after canvassing the results tonight, will report that in accordance with the Texas Tax Code, and then we have 30 days to file this information with the comptroller to certify the ordinance and resolution so that they're officially notified that we, as a city, have authorized this action to take place. And then between now and really January 2016, we will be, as a council, putting together a 7-member board and then looking at the formation of official certificate of formation for the corporation as as we formalize and gain approval of that with the state of Texas. And so it's just like forming any normal corporation that has bylaws that are put together. Fortunately for us, since we do have a Type B corporation that we're forming, there's fairly standard language that goes along with that, and so we'll be using that as our guide, and we've got legal counsel that we have on board to help guide us through that we've used to date as we move forward. And so our goal really is to try to get everything put together and organized in preparation for the first allocation of resources that we would get from the state, which will probably be in the December-January timeframe. So we've got some time to work through this. The good news is that we do have a clear authority to move forward, and so the council's going to be working on that as well as the other things that we'll be dealing with in the coming months with the budget. But this certainly will be a priority. I will also mention that the council made a decision a couple of months ago to go ahead and implement the development of an economic development strategic plan. And so that effort is going to marry up very well now with the development of the EDC, and that will be a tool then, the plan that is, it'll be handed over to the EDC for them to be able to use and implement the program. So the timing of that will be very important and will line up well for us to keep the momentum going with this effort. So just wanted to make sure everyone had an update on kind of what's next with that. As council members, got anything else you'd like to add to that or anything? Okay. Then with that, we'll move on. We've got a couple of gentlemen that have served on the council that this is their last session, and an opportunity for us as a council to thank them for their service and willingness to participate in doing some great things for the city. So if I could ask Casey to join me down front first. We've got this set up right. You want him to stand there? Okay. So Casey, I've got a token of our appreciation from the council and appreciation for your dedication and service to the city of Stephenville, City Council member 2013 to 2015. Just want to thank you for your leadership, as I said last Tuesday, on the council. A couple of things that you really set in motion and helped us be successful with the pay plan and certainly economic development. You brought to the council a sense of purpose and energy with some of your background, and it was greatly appreciated. So just wanted to give that to you and say thanks a lot. Just give me my hand. And I'll let you make any comments you'd like to at this time.
Are you sure?
Speech, Casey.
It's actually the first time in my life I don't have any written remarks. I usually, from my mayors, from my FFA training, we usually have the introduction and then the hook in and then but I don't have any of that tonight. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to serve. Public service since I was a little kid's always been an important thing to me, and this is certainly for me a temporary departure. I've actually got to leave here in a few minutes. I have a dinner at the Trogdon House that starts at 6, but I'm going to be a little bit late. So the point is, my job has made it pretty difficult the last year to serve on this council. Just the demands, working for Tarleton. I love Tarleton, but it is very tough when you have a job that you have to work past 5 o'clock. So I feel that we need some folks on here that can put some more time into it. So Mr. McClinton, congratulations to you. Mr. Harrison, congratulations to you. I know that just from following your campaigns that and your backgrounds that you'll be a big asset to this city. And so I wish each of you the best of luck in your endeavors. And Mayor, like the mayor said, I'm just proud of the work we've done on this council. When I first got into a work session, and I've always been kind of a guy that's in the middle. I see both sides of an issue and try to bring people together. And when I first got into a work session, I asked the question, why do we have no 4A or 4B corporation? And I had a few folks say, people I respect and that are friends, but they told me behind the scenes, you don't want to open that can of worms. It'll never happen in Stephenville, Texas. And then here we are 2 years later, and Russ, the vote was, I don't even remember what it was, 77%. So, you know, I think that's you know, we can't kick the can down on the road on these major issues. The pay plan, I certainly didn't envision becoming the voice of city employees, but the mayor asked me to serve as personnel committee chairman, and there was this problem where our city employees weren't paid enough. So we sat down, we worked on it with the help of Mr. Savine, who's, I don't know where he's at tonight, but probably in Austin or doing something pretty important. But with the help of Mr. Savine, we found the money, and we found a plan that wasn't perfect, but, you know, now our city employees are in a better place, and I think the work we've done for, I don't think there's been a council that's been more pro-city employees when you look at the benefit structure and the pay plan. So I'm really proud of the work that we've done here. We've taken big issues on and not kicked the can down the road. And I was talking with Alan before the meeting, and I certainly respect him a lot. And we haven't always seen eye to eye. And I think one of the problems we have in this country, frankly, is we've lost the ability to sit down and have a civil conversation and meet in the middle. Everybody wants to throw flames, and that's fun in political campaigns, but it doesn't get the job done when we've got to do things for our city and our state and our country. And so, Alan, I've appreciated the opportunity to work with you and Brady. Brady and I have been best friends for a long time, and I guess it's kind of ironic that we're departing this together tonight. So Brady's beautiful wife, Lisa, is here, and I asked a couple of my girlfriends to come here tonight, and they're at happy hour, so I don't have any family. I don't have any family or anyone here to recognize. But on that note, I probably should be quiet and say thanks for allowing me to serve you, and God bless and best of luck down the road.
Your turn, yeah.
Hold the spot. And Brady, likewise for you, the council wants to present this in grateful appreciation for your dedication and service to the city of Stephenville. City Council Member 2012, 2015, so you got a year on your teammate over there.
There's always a seem to be following Mr. Hogan. It's kind of
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's been interesting to see what I'll call the dynamic duo here, working together on the council. And certainly your background in the legal profession was an asset to the council, and being able to talk through issues. You know, to Casey's point about one of the significant things that I believe about this council, and I truly believe you brought this element to us, is the ability to discuss issues on their merits and set your emotions at the door and let's work through things. And so I really appreciate, and I know the council does, your willingness and example that you display in doing this. So just
Thank you
thank
very
you
much.
for your service
Thank you.
and appreciate it.
Thank you. No, Ms. Spellman,
Cindy.
Was it Brandy?
Oh, it's close enough.
Brandy, Bradley, Brandon, I get it all. Okay, I'll be brief. Would I have 3 minutes? Cindy, is that the going rate? Or 10 in my organization? Do I get 10 today? First of all, I'd like to just thank my wife and my family for allowing me to do this. I know it's quite a commitment we can all testify to that, to be able to serve up here in the council. A lot of long nights, a lot of time away from your family. And so it's a price you pay, and I appreciate my wife, Lisa, and my kids for allowing me to do that, because Lisa, for the past couple of years, has kind of been a single mom, and I know that's not what she really signed up to be, but she has been, and so I appreciate her the opportunity to let me do that. Next, I appreciate all the staff, employees out there. I mean, they're our greatest asset. It's been a pleasure to work with you all. We're blessed here in Stephenville, Texas, to have some great, dedicated, and just great employees. And that's what makes this thing work. Without the employees, without the directors we have, there really would be no need for the council that we have up here, because we could put a plan together, but we couldn't get anybody to go out there and actually put the plan in action. And that's y'all's job, and you do a tremendous job. So we're blessed to have just tremendous staff and tremendous directors and tremendous employees here at the city of Stephenville. I've enjoyed working with this council. I've enjoyed working with the previous councils as well. It's kind of hard to believe that I've been sitting in this chair for 3 years now, but I guess time flies by. And I don't think Mr. Nix and I have gotten any older. I think we look the same we did 3 years ago, right, Mr. Nix? No? Rhett, the good thing about this seat is you get to be in all the pictures with the mayor. when you get on the front page of ET. So it's the best seat, I think, up here on the council, because you get all the publicity, but you don't have to get all the bad stuff that comes with the mayor's job over here. So, good luck to you. I think you'll do a great job, and same with you, Mark. You're going to do a great job. I'm excited about you two being up here. I think we're going to have some great leadership that will continue to really push the city in the right direction. There's a lot of positive things going on here. There's no doubt about that. I see it every day in my job, and I see it up here on the council and through City Hall. People are excited about Stephenville, Texas, and that's a tremendous thing to have as a council and to continue to work with. It's always a lot of fun when you get to work with one of your best friends in your life, Casey. Of course, it's been a great time to do this, and we've had a lot of great times together in the past, and I look forward to whatever adventures we have in the future. There's no telling if we could talk about those in public or not. We have a lot we can't discuss with anybody, but that's the way it's supposed to be when you have a friend like Casey. So I appreciate just the opportunity that being able to serve with Casey. And then lastly, of course, I appreciate all the citizens, the confidence they've had in me, and I hope I can look back over my council term and say that I always voted and always tried to do what I thought was right for the citizens and what I thought was in their best interest, and instead of trying to worry about what I thought other people wanted me to do. So I think if you can go to sleep at night knowing that you took votes based upon those principles, then you probably did a good job as a council member. So thank you all. I appreciate that. And now I will concede the rest of my time to whoever wants to talk, and I will get out of here.
Are we supposed to leave? Are y'all already kicking us out? My goodness.
Thank you. I'll continue to harass you, I promise.
Jeez, I didn't know y'all took it this serious.
Casey, your pay.
My goodness. I had Joe Good up on my bill for 2 months. Thanks for everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to take an oath and welcome the newly elected officials. We've got place 1, Mark McClinton, and place 5, Rhett Harrison. And I just, on behalf of the council, want to welcome both of you to the group. And it is an exciting time to be a citizen in Stephenville, and here we're on the council with the things, the great things that are going on, and we are really fortunate, I believe, for us to be able to welcome and have you here joining us tonight. I'll remind you, if you haven't heard, just to clarify for citizens that may be wondering out there, you know, the job comes with no office, no car, and $200 a month. So
No, he's leaving, sir.
That's only you.
Oh, I didn't know that. Everybody,
You didn't get a car?
I just wanted to clarify that because there's some other communities in the state of Texas that's not the case, and within the county, obviously, the commissioners are paid essentially a full-time position. And so being a member of the council truly is a reflection of service to the community, and it's something I want to make sure the citizens appreciate, because the council members are doing this really, I believe, is a calling for them to serve their fellow citizens. And I mean, why else would you? And I think it's important to note that it's a great community to be able to do that in as well. So without further ado, why don't we go ahead and ask? Now, I will say, Mr. Savine, Doug Savine, is out of state tonight with some family issues, so he couldn't be here. So he apologizes for not, and we will do his oath when he's back in town. And believe me, he wanted to be here. So Mr. McClinton, Mr. Harrison, and Ms. Zachary, if y'all will just come forward, and Cindy will issue the oath of office. get accused of trying to get in your picture.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of city council member for the city of Stephenville and state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. So please sign those when you get back here.
All right. So we're gonna put y'all to work here, to start out with, so.
Congratulations, Councilman.
So I guess let me just see if, anyone would like to say anything. Mark, you wanna say anything before we start?
Yeah, just real quickly, I'd like to say, as you heard the election results announced a moment ago, the race for place one was very close. And to me, that just illustrates that, in fact, every vote counts. Every vote matters. So for those that supported me in this effort, I just want to say a heartfelt thank you, each and every one of you. For those that did not support me in this effort, I've got another new job that starts tonight, and that's to try to gain your confidence. And I intend to do that by simply being as fair and as equitable a representative as I can while serving on this council. And then I want to apologize to everybody sitting up here and the city staff, because you're going to get sick of me. I'm going to ask you a million questions. But I think the best way to learn stuff is to just ask about it. And I beg your patience and your indulgence as I try to learn what's going on. I'll try to make it as short as I possibly can for everybody. And then I'd just like to say that I'm excited. I'm excited about being here, being a part of this, but what I'm really mostly excited about is the opportunities that lie ahead for Stephenville. I'm ready to get after it. Thank you.
Thank you. Brett?
Actually, I'd just like to survive this without being run out of town, to be honest. But, no, actually, I am very much pro-citizen. I think that we have a pro-citizen council, pro-citizen administration. We've made some great strides to achieve that, and that's very important to me. And I think that as far as Stephenville, that we're moving in the right direction, and we just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other. And I think that good things are to come, hopefully sooner than later. And as far as myself, I do feel like that I do need to thank those that supported me. There was an outpour of that, and it's very touching. I sincerely appreciate it. And basically, I think that's about it. So thank you very much.
Sherry?
Well, I just have really enjoyed my last year on the council. I'm looking forward to completing actually a full term, and it looks like Rhett said, and everyone else has, that we're really on the right track for change. I also would like to thank everybody tonight, Casey and Brady, for the wonderful display of good sportsmanship and graciousness in their speeches and in their remarks. That kind of civility is really important, and it's something that you only see in America when we change hands and stuff. And I just really enjoyed it, and it was a very gracious display, I thought.
All right, well, thank you all very much and welcome. So we'll get on to business now. We did, Mr. Bridges asked us to take care of a couple of items tonight, just for the sake of timeliness. We wouldn't ordinarily do this during the election meeting, but we do want to keep some things moving forward. And one of them is an exciting opportunity for us to look at a contract with NextLink for space on the city water towers, and I'll let Pat just give us a quick brief on that before we consider the contract that's been presented to us. So, Pat?
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. A few months ago, we met with representatives from NextLink, and one of them is here tonight, Mr. Steve Burks, about they were interested in bringing in new wireless mobile and internet service to the city of Stephenville. I think competition's always a good thing, and this is an opportunity, I believe, to bring in a service that will benefit this community. And so I'm going to ask Steve to come forward, and he is here to answer any questions the council may have about the company and what they're proposing to do. I will say that we did do, we contacted references and got nothing but glowing comments back from the cities and entities that were contacted. So.
Okay.
And thanks, Pat. And real quick, just congratulations to Mark, Brett, and Sherry for new council positions. So,
Thank
and
you.
I want to thank definitely Pat and Cindy and Judy for helping me get on the agenda today. So, anyway, what we want to do, we do serve the independent school district here, all of the campuses for Stephenville. We've done that since 2013 and just now entered into an extended contract to go through 2017. High-speed internet is it's something that rural communities like this have been truly underserved for quite some time. This company NextLink was founded in 2012 based on serving those rural communities, those underserved communities. We do bleed into the urban areas occasionally by accident sometimes, just to shoot to other school districts or other large enterprises. And in doing that, we do serve some of the urban communities as well. But primarily, we focus on the underserved rural areas. And when I say high-speed internet, probably everybody in here has some form of internet, whether you're using a hotspot, a cellular phone, the data service is on it, or possibly a hardwired service where you're getting anywhere maybe from 3 megabyte up to 10 megabyte. What that means for non-techies is 3 megabyte to 10 megabyte, people that are just surfing the web, shopping on eBay, maybe just checking email and things like that, that's fine. You get beyond that, then you can get into the streaming of audio, video, and things like that. The FCC, the federal government, actually defines high-speed internet as 25 megabit and beyond. We've been serving the school for 2 years with about 150 megabit, but we do not cap that, so they've been going well beyond that. There are a lot of programs, one-to-one initiatives with students to have either a dedicated laptop per student or a iPad or some form of electronic device where they can expand their curriculum and do a lot more things online. A lot of schools have gotten the grants to get that equipment, but they can't enact it. They can't open up a lot of the ports that they need to stream video, YouTube, things like that. So what we've allowed the school to do was do just that. The federal government continues to shift monies away from old POTS lines. If you don't know what a POTS line is, it's plain old telephone service. So analog line, you're seeing large carriers get out of the analog line business to sell it completely and go more wireless. The school, again, their needs have changed such in the last 2 years. 150 meg is just fine for them. This is what they want to introduce in the curriculum. They want 1 gig, which is 1,000 megabytes. They've gone from 150, almost 2 times what they have today in the next year. So with that, we're actually bringing fiber as close to the community as we can. We can't get it all the way to the school, but we do have a tower going up out to the northwest of town on 281. We're currently serving the school off of a tower close to Lingleville. So we've We've got about 7 miles is probably the extent of that coverage, and we also have Garner, Grayford, and some other surrounding areas like and has coverage. But Stephenville just sits right in the center point that that radius doesn't quite meet. So what we asked when we met with Pat was we didn't see any competition on the tower. We did look at the competition. We have, I think, one hardline provider here in town that's served the community for quite some time. Used to serve the school district. And then there's a couple more smaller providers, much like us, that do it via wireless. So when I say wireless, I mean radio or microwave. So, but what we proposed was if we could, which we have done with, we've got about 12 other municipalities where we have leased off their water tank, either paid a lease amount to the city or done a mix of trade of service and a lease to the cities. Some cities have asked us and come and dragged us out and said, you've got to come to our community. We won't charge you anything for a lease, you don't have to provide us service if you don't want to. We just need the community to have higher speed access to your service. So that's basically what we're proposing. There's two water towers, of course, the one on the Tarleton campus and then the one just south of town. The one south of town is not needed as much, but as the city continues to grow, as we continue to grow and the demand is there, we'll probably like to get it as well. I think we did place it in the contract. Further conversations that we had over the past week, it looks like we'll probably utilize that right away. But with that said, really, again, we want to bring true high-speed internet to the community. Again, a lot of people are moving away from needing cable TV and just simply doing broadcast offline, whether it's sports packages, Netflix, Hulu, any of those type of digital media. A lot of people are just getting straight from their laptop, iPhones, or things like that. If you have kids in the home, probably everybody has a smartphone or a PDA or some sort of smart device that they're doing gaming, Xboxes, and things like that. Again, the lower speeds, you just can't keep up with a household like that. So if you've got multiple kids with iPhones trying to game online, watch Netflix and things like that, like my kids do, and if you tend to work at home, work after hours or anything like that, your internet speeds are just going to continue to drag down. So again, what we're looking to do, we would start with packages around 5 megabits, so those lower bandwidth speeds all the way up to about 30 megabyte, and likely we'll be able to, within the next 2 years, bring 50 megabytes to residents. I say that we can bring any speed to anybody, so we serve small, medium businesses, commercial businesses, large enterprises like the school districts and or cities, a lot of healthcare, so it's very reliable, it's very resilient. We can make it as resilient as you want to be if you are a business or first responder or anything like that. In many cases, first responders and things like the storms that we've had here recently that have experienced any kind of outages will look to us to be a backup. So we've also offered that to the city. Again, I know you're in an existing contract, I think another few years. But again, for access to the water tower, we could be a backup to each one of your city facilities or any others that are cut off. As Pat said, we do have several references, so many different counties and city municipalities where we do serve as just backup. Some of the water districts, we're just simply there to light up their cameras and give them an IP address, and that's it. That are way out, far from the city.
Okay, so do we have any questions from the council? Okay. All right, Pat, you got anything you'd like to add? Okay.
Would ask you to consider approving the contract.
Okay, Randy, you got it?
Yes, we've gone back and forth with this several times, and we don't have any disagreements. I think we've got it the way, we've got the contract the way we want it. The last draft that I saw had everything that I wanted in it to approve it, except one little deal. So I'd ask you if you want to pass this, to pass it subject to my final approval.
Okay.
Because honestly, I'd like to look it over totally again, if you want to go through. The corrections and additions, deletions that we have asked for so far, they've done. And it looks like they've taken care of nearly, well, all but one small thing that I want to correct. So if you make it subject to my approval, I then would recommend passing it from a legal standpoint.
Right. Okay. Well, if there's no further questions, then I thank you very much for the information, and you know, I think I talked with Matt Underwood, about a week ago about what's happening at the school, and this is a part of that to understand for kids to be able to have access to ebooks and stuff for them to study. This will be a great help, because not every kid has the good fortune of being able to have a computer at home, and so this will help the education system. And it obviously is an aspect of, when you think about economic development, being able to support corporations with enough throughput for data needs that they have, so it's great. So I'll just entertain a motion at this time then.
Mayor, I move we approve the contract with NextLink, which is outlined in the 15-page agreement as presented in our agenda, subject to the city attorney's final approval.
Is there a second? Second. All right, it's been moved by Mr. McDaniel, seconded by Mr. Nix to approve the contract with NextLink for leasing antenna space, subject to legal review. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries, and as presented. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you all.
All right. Competition is a good thing.
Yes, it is.
All right, the next item we've got on the agenda is to hear an appeal on the denial of a permit. This deals with the storm damage that we've had recently in our community, and before we do that, I've got a couple of requests that have come in for presentations from citizens that I'm gonna go ahead and allow you to come up and speak before we move into this agenda item. So first, I've got Joe Don, if you want to come forward and just state your name and address for the record, please, and then with your presentation.
Joe Don Slauson, 101 Jason Court, and a bunch of others. I apologize for my bald cap and attire, but I have actually been working. First of all, I want to thank each and every one of you people sitting up here. I do not envy the time that you spend in those chairs, but I greatly appreciate what you do for our community. And I would like to personally thank and commend Jason King and our Stephenville Police Department for the job they've been doing out policing and trying to enforce the codes and the requirements of our community to make sure that, and do the best job they can do to make sure nobody's being taken advantage of. Being out and about all day long, I have personally witnessed some things that should not be happening in our community. I've witnessed 3 guys with one little old lady in a nightgown leaning on a cane on the front porch, and holding papers trying to get her to sign. This should not be happening. I cannot personally speak about the particular contractor that is at issue tonight about the permits. As far as I know, they're not affecting my business at all. I'm extremely blessed to live in this community. Most of my customers in this community in general are extremely loyal and keep it local. And that's a wonderful thing. So, incredibly blessed to be here. I don't have much more to say, but I will be happy to answer any questions that any of the council members have if they want to ask, or leave it out and be in this business if they want to know.
All right, any questions anybody's got for Joe Don? Okay. I got one question for you. What are we doing to get supplies? I mean, because the volume, it is bound to be an issue.
It is.
Yeah.
There's no shortage yet. And there's pricing wars going on with all the suppliers. It's been pretty slow the last few years, so everybody's got a lot of excess inventory. So
Yeah.
they're all stopping by my office every day, and I'll deliver them here for this price. So, McCoy's here locally, right here in town, where their sales tax dollars are sitting here. I mean, they've got some pretty good prices, so I'm buying a lot from them.
And your thoughts on disposal of the material?
It's a good thing we just got that new compactor. Perfect time. It just, my wife and I, y'all know her, we've been talking about this several times in the last 2 weeks about just the time frame that's happened in the last year. You know, I just remodeled this office that I'm in now and made an office for her, and she got to spend some time last year kind of learning how, you know, the ins and outs and terminology. So now she's in running the office while I'm out all day running around. And, you know, of course, we've got a lot of additional staff now, which you don't approve. So it's just, it's still a little bit overwhelming at this point, but it's all the dominoes are in place.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing.
Well, good. All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pat, I will ask, and I know it's something that we may want to, and Alan with the Public Works Committee or something to look at. Has this ever happened to the volume where we might be able to work a deal for these shingles to be recycled and sold to an asphalt company or something? Because the asphalt material in there I know has a reuse value to it, and instead of us just compacting it into the ground, you know, it's just maybe something for us to look into.
Well, one of the things we're looking at is a way to stockpile those and potentially use a shredder to make that a more attractive product to be able to dispose of and be able to recoup some of our money for the
Yeah.
shredder through that very enterprise.
Okay, well, that's a great initiative to look at.
Yeah, what you're asking, the shredder that Mr. Williams had on, was able to acquire to do all the mulching down at the park, would be the same piece of equipment that would take care of all the shingles and would allow for that recycling to occur.
Well, and I just would encourage us to maybe to see if there's an asphalt company or out there that might want the rights to that material and take all of that away from us, to say, if we give you exclusive rights to this material, will you come in? Because the space that we would save in our landfill would be worth it. So just a thought, and y'all can look at that and come back to us maybe with some suggestions. That'd be great. All right, the next, I've got Sarah Vandenberg.
Good evening, Council and Mayor, and thank you for allowing me to speak with you tonight. My name is Sarah Vandenberg, and I am the managing editor of the Empire Tribune, but I'm here tonight as the daughter of a 69-year-old widowed mother who I believe nearly became victim of an unscrupulous out-of-town roofer who showed up about 24 hours after the storms hit a couple of weeks ago, knocking on her door, and when she answered, she was met by a man she had never met, but was told that he was there to check her roof after the storm. He implied that he had been sent there by whom she didn't know. She assumed she'd never been through anything like this, and she had assumed that it was by her insurance company. Unfortunately, my trusting mother, she allowed him inside her home. She visited with him for a while. He proceeded to step out back and walk around her house and assess the damage that had been done to her roof. You should know that her home is only 7 years old. She lives in a neighborhood that was not hit hard originally by the storms. There were cars lined up along the street when the storm hit. None of them even had a ding in them from hail. Yet this man, who saw no visible signs of damage to her roof, no shingles missing, nothing of the sort that would give any indication at all that anything was wrong, he determined that she needed a new roof and convinced her of that. He left, but before he did so, he told her he'd be back the next day with a contract and an estimate on repairs. Fortunately, she had a little time, and she called her insurance company, and they assured her that they had not sent anyone to her home. And then she called my husband to tell him what had happened. And luckily, we were able to intercede and intervene before she did sign any contract. In the days following that, she was called repeatedly by this company, pressuring her to sign. Luckily, they did not come back, but they called numerous times, upwards of 10 to 12. These weren't the only calls she's received. My mom has received 20 calls trying to invite themselves over to assess this damage. I would like to conclude really just by saying that I have no idea anything about this company who is appealing, making this appeal tonight. But I do believe that written ordinances are put in place to protect citizens like my mother. And it's my hope tonight that the city council will continue its work protecting residents from those with deceptive business practices and who are out to prey on our elderly, because it is happening here. Given my position, I did write a column about this, and you would be amazed at the response that I received. It was unbelievable. I received a letter from a lady in Dublin who said that her 90-year-old mom had had a similar situation happen and had been pressured into signing a contract, and they actually believe that she did not sign the contract herself, that the company signed it for her and forged her name, and now they've sought help from an attorney to get out of it. So while there are so many wonderful local trusting roofers and some out-of-town roofers who I'm sure are just as upstanding, we are living right now in times where people can really be victimized. And so thank you for hearing me out. I appreciate all that you do, and Mark and Rhett and Shara, I'd be remiss if I didn't say congratulations to you tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah.
Go back to work.
All right, then we'll proceed then to item 6 on the agenda, which is a hearing under section 112.1 to appeal from denial or revocation of permits. It's been requested by Spartan Construction and Roofing. So at this time, I'll open a public hearing to hear any discussion from, is Spartan here tonight? A representative?
I don't believe so, Mayor.
Okay. All right, and then I'll close the hearing and then ask Chief King if he'd please just give us a brief on the permit issue, and then we'll consider action.
Mayor, council, of course, I provided the memo in your packets, but basically the short of this one is that on Tuesday, April 28th, a little after lunch, a resident in Elbridge texted me a picture, an ad from Spartan Construction and Roofing that had been placed at their door, and inquired whether they had been approved to solicit in Stephenville. At the time, they had not been approved, they had not even applied for it, so they're already out, kind of in violation of the ordinance. So what I did was ask Post Owner staff to contact them and ask them to come by the police department so we could get the process done. They did come by, they filled out the package, and then they also filled out what we provide, and I put one out in front of each of y'all. It's solicitation guidelines for citizens and applicants. Because the ordinance is kind of lengthy and it's got a lot of details in it, so we've kind of reduced this to an information sheet that has a lot of bullet points, kind of gives them the do's and the don'ts and our expectations of how they need to be when they're out in the community. And as part of that, the applicants then sign the form saying that they've read and understand it and agree to comply with it. So that occurred. They sent 4 representatives. All 4 of them filled out packets. All 4 of them signed the information sheets. And then, I don't know what they did when they first left, but shortly before 5 o'clock, one of my patrol officers was out in Golf Country Estate and located 2 of them soliciting out there. And of course, they had not been approved, or at that point in time, their packets hadn't even been looked at by the folks that we had doing that. So he didn't know they'd already been through that process, so he warned them about needing a solicitation permit and asked them to come make that happen. As he drove around a couple more blocks or a couple more streets, he located 2 other ones from the same company, and they were also soliciting. At that time, I became aware of it, and because of the process they'd been through, I asked that he issue them citations, and then informed them that all 4 of them would be denied. For, at that point in my mind, willfully violating our city ordinance, because they had been made aware of it, had been told what the process was, and then essentially walked out our door and started soliciting. The specific necessarily for those four. As prescribed in ordinance, those four, are prohibited from applying for 1 year for another solicitation permit with Stephenville. The appeal, as I understand from the letter written tonight, is because I have continued to deny any new members of the Spartan Roofing Company. And I have not spoken, but they have talked to several members of my staff and asked if we would consider new members. At this point, I have not been willing to consider new members because this wasn't just one representative or two, it was all four, went out and, in my mind, just willfully violated, the rules that we put in place as a community. And, you know, this issue is also one that's near and dear to me as well, with the amount that we have going on. In fact, the stats that I looked at today, we have approved 82 businesses with 173 individual solicitors. 135 of those have picked up their permits. We have denied 20 individual solicitors for 14 different businesses. One of those is one complete business, which is Spartan Construction and Roofing. And so what I would add with that is, out of 82 businesses with 173 approved solicitors, the only single company, to my knowledge, has not willfully violated all the rules in our ordinance is Spartan Roofing and Construction. So my recommendation is to keep any new members or representatives of Spartan Construction and Roofing for applying for and potentially receiving a solicitation permit for 6 months from the date when this occurred, which was April 28th. And I think, in my mind, that's appropriate, and that would be the recommendation that I would make to the council.
Any questions for Chief?
The people, the 4 people that were in your office, were they the same ones that were out soliciting after they left your office, or are they different?
No, that's the
Same ones?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Mr. Nix?
Chief, is there any possibility that they misunderstood the conversation that they had at the time I've applied for this, so that automatically grants me the right to do this?
No, sir, I don't believe so. Because as I've said, there's 82 approved businesses that all have done it the correct way, after they applied, returned when they were notified by our office that their applications were complete. You know, normally as part of the ordinance, we wrote in there that we have 10 business days to get these approved.
Mhm.
Because of this extraordinary situation, ever since this happened, that Monday after the storm, for those first 2 weeks, I had 5 people that did nothing but all day long process solicitor applications so that we could get these companies in. If they were past our background checks, we could get them out there to work, and then folks in the community could, you know, start making arrangements to, you know, get the repairs or whatever needed to happen. So, and then, you know, that's another potential issue. We've run across a few companies that have come into the community and started soliciting without asking, but by and large, the majority of them that have come in know that most municipalities have some type of ordinance. And so they either come to City Hall, call City Hall, come by the police department. They've made arrangements on their own. We certainly haven't reached out to all these companies. So, you know, in my mind, this group of folks, the rules didn't seem to apply. I have no issue with that.
Well, and I feel certain that as many people as have been approved with the correct process and the correct procedures, y'all made it abundantly clear that this is what we're doing and how. But as an effort of being cautious, I just wanted to make sure that they didn't misunderstand, and apparently if the others understood, they should have also.
Right. Well, and specifically on these information sheets, just kind of one of the little things in it, is that it gives you the hours that you're able to solicit, which end at 4:30. It was shortly before 5, the first 2 that Officer Payne ran into, and after 5, the other 2. So that's kind of another clear indication as well.
I want to commend you and your department for your service on this, because recognizing the need, y'all did your best work to try to get as many qualified and capable and reputable people out there as possible. I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, thank you. And we'd also like, you know, if anybody has stories of yours complaints,
approve the denial.
Second.
Okay, it's been, so are you making that with the recommendation that Chief King, okay,
Right.
with the
Approve
6
the
months,
denial.
with the 6 months?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So the motion is to deny issuance of a solicitation permit for a period of 6 months, effective, April 28, 2015, by Mr. Wagner, seconded, by Mr. McLean. Any discussion? All right, proceed to vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries as presented. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Welcome the new members. The great work by the police department. And just, at this time, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn, Mayor.
Second. All right, we'll adjourn at 6:34. Thank y'all.
That's a short one, Rhett.
I've been to these things,
Welcome.
appreciate it.
Congratulations on your election.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on not having to run again.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Jim.
You ain't go rougher, picking on the old folks.
Yeah.
Running around.
Run around.